And we are live. Hey, everyone. Dan Baumann here with the Designer Show. And I'm on today with Robin Fisher and our special guest, Joleen. Joleen Emery. So, Joleen, how you doing today?
I am great, Dan. Thank
Awesome.
you. Thank you for having me. Hi, Robin. Good to see you too.
Nice to see you too, Joleen. Thank you for joining.
Yeah. So,
pretty excited about this.
Joleen and I were talking about a month ago. Joleen does all my marketing and graphics and Facebook and Instagram and all of these things that I'd love to be able to do, but I'd never have time or, to be perfectly honest, the desire to get out there and do that stuff all day long. I'm just busy with the things that I do. Chief architect, helping people with plans, coaching, putting on events like this where we're trying to share some education. So that's kind of what we do here. And then Joleen, we've been together now. You've been doing stuff with me for about 3 years, right?
I actually think we're going on 4.
Are we going
I think
on
we're
already?
at,
Wow.
Yeah, I think so.
I remember I met you at a...
4 birthdays.
I met you at a meetup in St. Louis Park where you were talking about Facebook ads. I thought, oh, that's something I should be doing. I'm going to better go check that out. And we got to talking after that, and I hired you, and you've been doing that ever since for me. So it's been awesome to have you on board, and it's really fun to work with you. We meet once a week, go through things, and Joleen and her team just take care of everything for me. So it's pretty cool. I just kind of have to meet, and we just talk about a lot of different things. So we were talking about a month ago, and we said, Joleen, how about doing a course on marketing? And she thought, oh, okay, that'd be cool. And so Joleen just sent out a survey. She said she's had 60 responses so far, which is absolutely phenomenal. I love marketing. I've always been a fan of it's just one of those fun things that you get to do, to talk about your business and show what you do and build your brand. And it's just really cool. But it takes a lot of energy and a lot of work and a lot of focus. And it's really hard to stay on it all the time. And when real quick, and then we'll get to you in a second here, Joleen, but I remember back when I was doing contracting, I was notorious for working myself out of work. I would market, get lots of jobs, and I would do them all. And then all of a sudden I'm getting near the end of the job and I'm going, I don't have a lot of leads on the book. I don't have a lot of jobs on the books. So then I'd do marketing again, and I'd get jobs, and then I'd market myself out, or I'd work myself out of jobs again. So it was one of those things that it's just like, oh, it was not a really good way to run a business. But, I learned. That's how we all get there. We learn. And so it was, it's one of those experiences that now I don't have to do that. And we just keep moving. Marketing is a big deal. There's a really good saying that I heard. I can't remember his name. Marketing is everything. Okay. And everything is marketing. Mm-hmm. So everything you do in your business is marketing, whether it's the job signs, whether it's showing up on time, whether it's clean job sites. That was one of my big marketing things, was clean job sites. I love clean job sites, and we worked hard to keep our job sites clean, and the clients appreciated that, and they would tell their neighbors about that. So that was good marketing. So, but anyway, Joleen, what are you going to talk about today? Let's get to you.
Well, first, I want just a couple of comments about what you just shared. It is very unusual for someone to say they love marketing. Business owners, that's not typically the first thing that they say. Usually they say it's really hard, or I don't know what I'm doing, or I don't know where to start, or there's so much to do, or it's complicated, especially right now in very what appears to be complex ecosystem that we have of social media marketing, along with all of the other things that we do for lead generation. So you are an exception, Dan, that you enjoy it.
Yeah,
and
well,
you like talking about it.
Maybe it's just because I understand the importance of it. Because
right,
I learned a lot of things the hard way, which we all do.
Right.
So anyway, real quick, oops, hang on, my phone just went off. Real quick, I want to say hi to everybody that's joining us today. I see Nina from cold Alaska is here, and we got Shannon. How you doing? Doug
I agree
Norton.
with Shannon on the Friday. Thank you, Shannon.
Yeah. And good old Mike. How you doing, buddy? And feel free to ask questions, leave comments anytime you want to here. We'll just be going along here as we go. Real quick background on Joleen, more of a current background. Joleen, you just recently moved from the Twin Cities to area down by Rochester, right?
Yeah.
And let me just show you this real quick. So you moved.
You're the best.
Your business is Big Raven.
Yeah.
What's your Big
So I'm
Raven
a
marketing? Is it?
I'm a serial entrepreneur, have lots of different things, but you and I work together through Big Raven Media.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
And then I own Big Raven Farm, which is what Dan is standing in front of. That's my bed and breakfast. And then I also own Big Raven Yoga. So
Yes.
Big Raven Farm is a retreat and event center with a yoga studio, and so we do lots of things. We lead a pretty strong yoga lifestyle in addition to the things that we do with marketing. So
Yes.
it's very kind of you to mention all of that. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. No, you just moved to the to your farm.
Yep.
A couple of years ago, a year and a half ago.
Almost a year ago exactly. We just had our anniversary here in November.
Oh,
so
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's been 1 year. Thank you,
yeah,
Robin, and getting it all ready to go. We sleep 14. We have a yoga studio. We have an event center. It's been really great, and of course, we do all the making and manufacturing of our product right here on the property. So it's nice to do everything all in one place.
So very cool, and I love your brand.
Thank
the Big
you.
Raven brand. You get the yoga, the farm, everything. It all kind of goes together, so you can really tell what you've done. And you've done a great job with this. So, but your Big Raven Marketing Services, you've been doing this well, and you've built a great team of people that that do the work, do a lot of the work. So that's pretty cool. So let's get into that a little bit. So let's have everybody. Let's see, where did I put that? Let me go to the banners here and bring up. People can get the worksheet. I'm going to leave that run on the bottom of the screen for a little while. And it's if you go to here, let me grab the link here. Where'd it go?
There it is.
Open here, yeah. So it's a Google sheet. So what did I? So maybe Robin, you want to type that in and enter a comment?
Yeah.
And the best way to use that sheet is to go to file.
By the way,
and then download it.
You don't have to type the HTTP. You don't have to type. Just type bit.ly/big Raven worksheet. But you do have to do the caps, I learned. So anyway, and if you're watching this from the page where you're viewing it, you'll see Robin's or Jolene's a little bit about her right there, a link to her website and her social media. And here's a link for the the worksheet right here. Okay, so you can click on that. Oh, and by the way, you'll also notice that we have a little sale going on. So through December 24th, you can get 35% off of all of our on-demand courses that we've done. So you can go ahead and check those out if you'd like to. So use the coupon code 35 off Chief Experts, and you'll get that discount.
Yes.
So I have your worksheet open, but it's set up to view only. So how do you recommend that we fill this out? Can we?
So the steps are, just download it or save a copy or copy it. And then that way everyone has their own sheet and we're not working inside of any kind of shared sheet. So all the settings are set so that you can use it as your own worksheet. You just have to have a couple more steps so that it belongs to just you. And the worksheet is part of the conversation that we're going to have today. And if you're looking at it, I know that it can seem, you might think I'm crazy. Like, what are all of these questions? And I don't really have time to sit down and answer all these questions. And it's so much to fill out. And the very simple answer I have is yes.
Yeah, here's the worksheet that we're talking about. And it is a Google sheet. So how do you do a copy of this?
So go to File.
And Make a copy.
Make a
Okay.
copy, or you can download. Either one
Oh
works.
yeah, and download it. So
First day on the
Yeah.
internet, right, Dan?
yeah, I know. Yeah. I just figured out how to turn my computer on the other day.
Yep.
So yeah, we can't have people changing this, otherwise it'd be a mess.
Yeah.
So, but go ahead and download it, and you can start filling this out. And Robin had commented when she first saw it, said, "This is a great worksheet," and it really is. You ask a ton of really good questions here.
Right.
Well, it's so timely for me because I'm actually in the process right now of changing my whole entire business structure and changing my website.
Mhm.
So this is like
Yeah.
fabulous, brilliant. Yeah, it's
Well,
great.
and thank you. And it's necessary. So, Dan, would you like me to start talking about that stuff?
Well, let's get into it. Yeah. So one of the things that we talked about, okay, when we started talking about this and getting you on board here, was marketing. What is marketing? Everybody has marketing, right? And I said, one of the problems is these days that people are super busy. Okay, so it's like, why would they need to do marketing if they've got all the work they could possibly use or possibly need? And it's like, well, okay, what happens when business isn't so good and things slow down? And it's like, okay, well, that's one thing. But then it just dawns on me, it's just like, okay, are people getting the kind of work they really want to do? Okay, the type of clients that they really want to work with. So that was the idea then that, all right, well, let's address that a little bit. How can you improve your business, your image, and everything that you do so that you attract better clients? So let's just, Joleen, why don't you move forward with that?
Yeah,
and shall I show the sheet here?
Sure.
Want me to do that? Okay.
So in this question, I think that is very relevant to your fans and followers right now is many folks are busier than ever. They've got more work than they can handle. And the question becomes, why? Why do I need to be marketing when my pipeline or my bench, as they say, is full? And the reason is to ask yourself too is, are you getting the right kind of clients? Are your clients self-selecting? Are your clients working their way through your digital landscape? And do they understand exactly what it is that you do and you sell? Or do you find yourself spending a lot of time weeding through folks who probably should have been able to self-select, meaning drop off if they want something you don't do, drop off if they can't afford your services, or, for whatever reason, they're not in alignment with what you do. So the idea becomes, streamlining your messaging. And what we're really talking about is branding. And branding and marketing are, I think sometimes folks, when they think about branding, they're thinking about colors and logos and fonts. And certainly that's a part of it. But this worksheet that I've created for you is the rest of the story. There is so much that we need to think about, even if not, filling out my worksheet. We need to give some thought to some of these things.
Yeah.
And you'll see it starts with mission statement. And, back in the day, I used to be on committees in my life. I worked in higher ed before I worked in the online space. And we would sit down and we would talk about what is our mission statement. And it was, in service upon in service and discussions about what is our why. And I think that's a really great takeaway from a corporate space or, for me, it was an institution of higher learning. But if you don't really drill down and discover or define your why, you're going to be kind of hitting things all over the place. And the cost of that is your time and your money. And so we have to get back to kind of some marketing 101 in a lot of cases and ask ourselves some of these questions. Like, how are you different? What do your clients need? And more importantly, what can you deliver, especially with contractors and designers?
I think this defining your why thing it's a little tricky in that you might put something down today. Tomorrow you might put something totally different down because you have a chance to think about it and go, oh yeah, this is why this is why I really do what I do. And it's just something to keep in mind. And this whole thing about branding, marketing, it's always changing. It's
Oh yeah,
always
and this is a living, breathing document. It can evolve,
yeah, yeah,
but there is a caveat to that. You don't want to you don't want to have different identities on different platforms. So one of the things I say a lot is, does your entire digital footprint, your entire real estate, does it point everybody in the right direction? Does it look the same? Dan, thank you to your point of going through my estate. You can tell where you are, and that's been
yeah,
very, very deliberate.
yep,
Everything is, as we say, on brand. And we do that, for a purpose. And that's to let our friends, fans, followers, and customers know that they're in the right place. And so
yeah.
in this survey that I did, it was really interesting to me that one of the
That's
biggest
right. Some of you
concerns,
may have already done the survey
yes,
that Joleen sent out through
which I
Chief Experts,
appreciate. Thank you.
and yeah,
So
got a lot
one
of
of the
response.
biggest challenges right now facing a lot of contractors and designers is their website, and that their website doesn't either accurately reflect what they do, or it doesn't help their customers self-select. Meaning, do I continue further with that call,
Right.
where we talk about my project, which is time and money, of course.
Yeah.
And
Well,
companies,
it's like, if someone's using AutoCAD, they learn real quick from my stuff that, yeah, Dan doesn't do AutoCAD. So, I'm a chief architect guy. And so
right.
self-select,
Well,
yeah. So, and then
yeah,
another example of
self-select.
that might be a contractor or that won't work on houses before 1970 because of the lead issues. Or,
Mhm,
some do renovation, some do restoration. Big
mhm.
difference. So anyway, so those are
Which
things
leads
about,
right into this, being niche marketing. Niche marketing is where we're going to talk about specifically what we do, again, so people can self-select. And then around that, we would create content that is specific to that niche. We would have a brand identity specific to that. And I think for some of us, we have an ideology that we don't want to turn anybody away. Like, we want to have the chance to talk to all of our leads. But I think that there's another way to look at that, and that is that is your time, which is therefore your money, and it's an opportunity cost. You can't do something else while you are talking with a lead that is going to go nowhere. And
right.
so the benefit of having people self-select and self-identify works for them, and it works for you. So you can't attract who you want to unless you kind of repel who you don't. And so you
So,
need
Joleen,
to have the attraction and the repelling all at the same time. Yeah.
so for a long time, so I'm now in the process of changing my business structure, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
was
Yep.
totally focused on doing design and focusing on design. And, of course, everybody wants to be the luxury designer. So, like, I've been in the industry for a really long time. I've written a book. I'm a public speaker. I have, won a bunch of awards, okay, good
Mm-hmm.
me, right?
Yep.
So I
Yep.
was a luxury designer, but so
Yep.
does everybody else want to be a luxury designer. So how do you break yourself down? Or I want to be a remodeler of a high-end, I want to do high-end remodeling, or I want to do full house designing, but so does everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you define yourself differently from what
Mm-hmm.
everybody else wants to do?
Well, here you go. Doug says, I know this sounds crazy, but my problem is I have I have way too much work. I don't want to say no to clients, but what can you do when you get overwhelmed with work? And, this goes to that same thing. We're seeing just to be stuck on bad jobs. Okay, let's not
Yep.
get the bad jobs in the first place. So if you're getting bad jobs, that means you're attracting the wrong kind of clients.
Mm-hmm.
Attracting, that word attract, that's part of marketing and branding.
Well, and so first, let's talk about Robin's question about Robin. What I hear you saying is that you're looking for your differentiation. Right? Like, there are so many people that have this moniker of luxury. What is your brand differentiation? How are you different? And then you have to, that's going to come through some soul searching and maybe a silly little worksheet that helps you figure that out. And it might not come necessarily in the services, but it might come in the language and in the way that you brand yourself. And branding is a feeling. right? It is a way that we feel when we think about a specific brand or company or product. The classic, of course, is to compare, Microsoft to Apple and, explore what you feel when thinking about those brands. And
Right.
so I think the same is true for us. Like, what is the feeling? What is the brand story? What is the culture of who you are and what you're about? And I think that leads into the other two comments, which is, of course, you don't want to say no, right? You're in a service-based business and you want to provide solutions and you want to be available to clients and you want to help them with their problems. The catch-22 of that is that you dilute your brand when you take on those projects that aren't your very best projects for you. Like, what
So,
is
Doug,
your most favorite thing to
again, Doug,
sell? What is your most favorite reason, to get to that project?
yeah.
More of those, less of the others. And it is, simplest way to think about it is you have to repel who you need to repel so you create room to attract who you should.
So in Doug's case here, he said he doesn't have any bad clients. They're all referrals and good people. That's
just a
awesome.
scheduling issue.
So
That's
go through. So Doug, go through this branding process, this whole process, to help you define more of just what you want to do. Somehow you got to figure out how to say no. And one of the best ways to do that is to say yes to the people you really want to do work for.
Well, and I think, referrals and good people and good clients, I know from my own experience, that's the best. That's what,
Right.
Makes coming to work so much easier.
Yeah.
The thing about referral marketing, though, is that it's kind of like having all of your eggs in one basket. Your lead generation sources, it's a nice to have. You're not guaranteed to have it. So while you work from referral, you should also, a best practice, have a backup to fill up your bench and your pipeline, because referral marketing is great, but it is not a guarantee.
Right.
And so it's important to do more than one thing.
There's nothing better than referrals. And again, you can help, by setting up, having good marketing out there and a good website and all those other good things that you would use. Your referrals are going to check you out before they call you anyway. Everybody's going to check you out before they call you. That's just the nature of the way it is these days. So,
well, and I would say too, Dan, with that, if referrals are a primary lead generation source, then there are a couple of other things that we should do to capitalize on that story. And, are you making sure you get really great Google reviews? Are you making sure that you get, testimony from those folks, either in the way of, something that they write and submit, or video testimony, some piece of content that will help you tell your brand story, which is you work off referrals and people love you. And that's a really great brand story. That's a wonderful story.
So for Doug, maybe we'll create a 2x4 marketing course where if he keeps saying yes, he gets to hit himself with a 2x4. or maybe we'll come over and do it for him. But I know how that feels. It's really hard to say no when you get a good lead.
I have that problem too.
Yeah, you want to help people. You want to answer because you can help them.
Yeah.
And Robin, you just went through a course with what's her name?
Betsy.
Yeah,
Betsy.
Betsy to help you because you were just getting overwhelmed and taking on too many clients. Or I don't know, you were taking on too many clients. You just wanted to scale that back. So you wanted to manage your time better. So it's, there are ways to do it.
The other thing to think about too is, if let's think about our market right now. And I appreciate that question about, it's a big basket. That's awesome. Well done. The thing about it though, is I wouldn't put all my eggs in that basket, right? This climate is unique. This world of work right now is unique. And just like everything, we know it's not going to be this way forever. It's wonderful that it's this way now. That's amazing. Yeah. But I would say that this is a good time to get some of those ducks in a row, right? Get yourself prepared for what's going to come next, because we know waves they go up and they go down, and maybe that's not in the next 18 months, which is a really great problem to have. But at the same time, I would question or ask, is your digital real estate, is everything pointing in the same direction? And are you consistent across all channels and platforms? Typically, when we run an audit for a new client, we find everything from different phone numbers and URLs and different information across platforms because we get busy and we forget about it. And so having your entire digital footprint be on brand is an easy thing that you can do in these times where, perhaps you've got more business and perhaps more of the, how do you say it, Dan? I wouldn't say disposable income, but discretionary funds to, get a partner to help you get your, digital marketing estate all in alignment.
That takes forever. I have that issue right now, and changing and going down and looking at
It does.
every phone numbers. Oh my gosh, it takes forever to change out. So
It is.
it seems like this is
Because
like,
there's places.
oh, it's crazy. But just figuring out like your why. Your why isn't
Yeah.
what you want to do. And it's not just, it's really digging deep and almost, I'm starting to write these things down, but of course you have to get to the point to where you are really patting yourself on the back. I'm really good at this. It's like you have to really puff yourself up and
Yes.
almost to the point to where you go, oh, I'm not really that good. But that's the part that I think about. We were having this conversation this morning about what is that syndrome called when you think you're imposter syndrome, right? So
Right.
I think that's the hardest part about branding and coming up with your brand is to get away from, how do you help people to get to the point to where they're, don't just, I'm not bragging about myself, but I'm saying what's real, right? What is real, right? So, because that's what you need, right? You need me to brag about myself so you can write brand,
Well,
right?
I love that question, Robin. And there's a couple of ways that I would encourage folks to think about that. The first one is, okay, let's think about Coca-Cola, right? It's a brand we all know.
Right.
Coca-Cola is never going to come out and say, this product is so acidic it can clean a toilet bowl, right? they're not gonna tell us that, right? That's not
Probably not.
That's not a part of their brand story. They hardly even talk about how it tastes, other than Diet Coke, right? What they do is they promote feelings, images of feelings, of community and right, and adventure, and
That's
they don't
interesting
really
because
have to say
there was a Coke ad on TV last night where they focused on taste. That was the whole gist of that. It tastes better. It tastes good. You're going to love it. It tastes great. It's the all new Coke. It tastes great.
Yeah.
It's like, and it just seemed really odd to me that they would do
because
that.
for years that's not what they've done. They've been, Clydesdale horses, and they make you cry, and the father and the daughter dancing at the wedding, and hardly ever have they talked about the consumption of the beverage other than to watch you drink it. So my point, though, is that in your brand, it's a narrative about what you do for others. It's feelings. It's evoking confidence in your case, evoking a sense of luxury and style, and helping consumers feel that you are indeed who you say you are, and that you indeed will provide this luxury experience. So set the imposter syndrome to the side, because they don't want you to, they don't want to know, I'm not so sure if I'm the best. They want to feel confidence in you, which will, radiate through the things that you say and how you share it and the way that you put all of your branding together. But you're absolutely right. Customers want to hear what's in it for them, and they want to hear that you've got their back, especially in the things that you do. I've been through a lot of design and renovation myself. As you can see, I'm currently sitting in an empty room. And what I want most of all in my partners is I want to feel safe, because it's expensive and time consuming, and I want to know that they're looking out for me. And that will come through their brand story and through the things that they provide and the things that they say and their referral network and all of the really good testimonies. But all of that is branding and marketing.
Well, and then the hard part is making sure that your Instagram which, I have this love-hate relationship with Instagram, right? And
Everyone does, yes.
oh my gosh, well, and it's such a pain, and who wants to do it, and blah, 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 blah. But
Right.
Yeah.
staying on brand with it is
Mhm.
so hard to
Yep.
do that. And how do you suggest to people to do that, to
Mhm.
stay on brand with their
Yep.
digital, their Instagram, their Facebook stuff?
Sure. So what I
That's actually Doug was asking that too. It's just like, ooh, it's a lot of work to take care of all that stuff. And it
Yes.
really is.
It is. And if I might say, so I think a couple things. Let me answer this first and then I'll get to Robin's question. So you are all professionals in what you do, contractors, designers, and I can't do what you do. That's not my job. That's not, what I'm an expert at. I'm an expert at this. And what I see more often than not is a lot of really busy businesses try to do this themselves. They think that they can maybe have, the office manager attend to it, or that maybe they can do it themselves on the side. And it's like I wouldn't go to someone else to dye my hair. Or I wouldn't do it myself. I'm going to go to the experts. I think that this is one of those cases where I would encourage you to get a partner if it's within the scope of your business, because to your point, it is so many touch points. It is not a simple system to navigate. It is ever changing seas and the sand is always shifting. So that's my first set of advice is get a partner, because not only are you updating your website, but you are creating social media content, and you should have an editorial calendar, which is this is what we're going to do for the next 6 months, because more often than not, creating content is one of those things that bites us, and we do it last minute and we rush our way through it. And then you're just posting to post. And that's a problem, because your content should mean something to the people on the other side. And quite honestly, that takes time. And that is an investment. Anytime you try to slap it together, that is going to be the response of people on the other side. It will not resonate. It won't do anything. So content needs to be valuable. And
Yeah.
that takes time.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I would say, so Robin, your question about how do you decide? I first of all think that not all channels are created equal. And to assume that you should be on this channel or that channel without really knowing where your audience is dangerous and expensive. So, for example, let's just say that we all think we need to be on Instagram, but we're not getting a lot of traffic or engagement from Instagram. I would argue that that's not the best space for you. If people get to you by Google, say, they go to the well of wisdom and they have a question and they go to get an answer, I would say that SEO and really great content, blog articles that answer questions might be a better lead generation source than content on Instagram. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't be there. You should, but the strategy for each channel is different. Or I should say, maybe you should be. You have to know where your audience is before you put the time and investment into those channels.
Understanding
I think,
Robin,
right,
or
understanding
Jolene,
where they hang out.
when you say channel, you're talking about
Mhm.
Facebook, YouTube, Instagram,
Yep, yep,
House,
they're so,
on
yep,
and on. Those are each
yep,
channels.
channels.
So
Yep, there's, or, it's also called what apps are people on. But I
yeah,
would say that, creating content, like gone are the days of, I'm going to put together a series of quotes and I'm going to post those to the internet, and that's going to be my social media marketing. That's really not how it works anymore. It has got to be relevant, engaging, while being short and consumable.
yeah,
And I actually think that some of the best places for contractors and designers would be the Reels spaces of Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Anything demonstrative where people can see what you do, that captures eyeballs, because you are lifting the veil. You are letting us get a glimpse into seeing how you do what you do. And that's fascinating. People are in a state of, I want to watch, I want to learn, I want to observe. I think this is highly engaging and interesting. And so makers, it's a maker's opportunity, I think. And you are all makers. You make stuff.
Yeah.
People
Well,
want
that's
to
amazing.
watch.
Right.
Yeah.
This is,
There's a lot of truth to that.
almost overwhelmed.
I have,
You're saying these things, and I'm just like getting overwhelmed with.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
yeah. I think one of the solutions to that, and one thing that worked well for me, was pick out one channel.
Yep.
And start with that. Don't try to do them all at once. Okay.
Well, and I see a lot of, I mean, unless you're going for like, influencer status, then we'd have to have a different conversation, because you'll see influencers will repost the same content on every channel. And, there's a strategy and a methodology to that. Because, maybe I'm on TikTok and I'm not on Instagram. So I'm going to see your content on TikTok and I'm not going to see it. Like, there is some, general, like, I understand the why. But for those of us who are talking, B2C, business to consumer, we definitely want to be creating content in the spaces where they're hanging out. So step one, where are your consumers hanging out? And then let's solve for that.
Yeah. So, yeah. But even before that, there's a bit of work to do.
Yes.
I know one of the things, let's see where to go here. Question by Amzi asked, well, here's a specific question. Okay. To get people to leave a Google review, should I create a link? And even before that, what should they do?
That is a really good question.
All
So
right.
I think 2 steps back, we got to think about your brand. And is it on brand for you to ask in this specific way? Because I know some brands will.
Yeah, and I'm not going to even stop you for a second and say, even before asking for Google reviews, what do a lot of people not do? They don't set up their Google business account.
Right, exactly. So to collect that review, to point, to collect that review and have a place for it to live, you need to set up your Google My Business. And we have a tutorial on that. We have a step-by-step guide. If you haven't done that, my team will link it in the show notes so you can have it. It's really easy and something you need to do. But I would say that your point about how to do it, so leaving a Google review, you would think by now we would have that dialed in as a super easy thing to do. It's tricky because you have to be logged in to a Google account. If you don't have a Google account, you can't leave a review. So like Joleen Emery at yahoo.com can't leave unless I'm signed in with Google. So is a tutorial helpful? Absolutely. Will people take the time to read it? I'm not so sure. That's one of the things I discover with, creating content is that, sometimes they stick to the flypaper and sometimes they don't. Right. So I would say, sure, provide it, right? Provide it. But I would be careful with the scripted ideology because why do we do reviews? We do that for the next consumer, the next potential customer down the track. We also do it to boost our engagement with Google. Google likes that. Google likes Google reviews, and your website is going to perform better with more reviews. That said, they're tricky to get because you have to be logged in, and people have the best of intentions of going about and leaving them. So I think a couple of ideas, would be a good idea. Like maybe this is what you want to say, but I wouldn't do too much because one of the worst things I think for a consumer is scrolling through canned responses, because authenticity, and I know that's been a catchword for a long time, authenticity is still the ruler of this game. And if it feels contrived, it will repel, and we want to attract. So I would say yes, and yes, carefully.
That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is like, it's great and fabulous, and I'm super excited, and I'm also like, whoa.
Well, and the other thing that I would consider doing is
let's slow down for 1 second. Let's show what that is. Okay, so if I go search "Welcome to Big Raven Farms," your business. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then we look over here. All right, so we're talking about this. Okay, so you've got 11 5-star reviews. That's a pretty good deal for only being there a year. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have showed this if they were all 1-star, but knowing you, I totally get. Well, I don't even know I have 4.9. It should be 5.0.
Right? Who knows?
Somebody had a bad day. Anyway, so this is what we're after, but this is the Google Business account here. So you've got all your information in here, how people get a hold of you, et cetera, et cetera. And Chinese restaurants are the worst at doing these things, and having websites too. It's really amazing. But most businesses, especially contractors, things like that, get this all set up. And it's one of those things that really doesn't take that much effort to do this. Add tons of pictures. So getting Google reviews is a good thing. So it never doesn't hurt to ask.
Let's go to chief experts.
Uh-oh. Let's just go to Chief Experts Academy.
But anyway, this will tell you that folks have them set up.
I'm not going to my website. I'm just searching for it on Google.
There it is.
Here it is. So
and look at that.
I have one review.
But Dan has tons and tons and tons of testimonials, and we use that content in a different way. We use that on social. A lot of Dan's traffic doesn't come through Google. And so, could we have a strategy in 2022 to get more Google reviews? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But primarily, Dan's traffic doesn't go to Google to find him. They find him through other channels.
True.
So you want to still match your strategy to where your people are. Dan's people come from communities and groups and through content. And so it's a really good example of not one size fits all, but it is still good to establish your Google My Business. And Dan, maybe we do need to do a Google review campaign.
We probably should. I did that once on LinkedIn, and I got 80 people that left great reviews. That was a long time ago, actually. So that was really kind of fun. LinkedIn made it really easy.
That's okay. Yeah.
But each channel, right? I mean, even Facebook used to have reviews. They've changed that now. You can leave recommendations, but it's frustrating, of course, that each channel has its own way of leaving, content and feedback. And the one that, helps the most through search is going to be the Google review.
Okay, let's get to some of these questions here. Yes. So then again, if you guys haven't downloaded the sheet, please do so. And let me throw that banner back up here. There it is. Let's see, what do we got here? Jamie says, sends my links to Yelp, Nextdoor, and Google when I email a request for review. Copy it for my website. So far, so good. Well, someone can't post their own reviews. Some people have to do it. You can't post someone's review on your own website.
And that's not what Jamie's saying to do that. She's saying that they will automatically, that she's telling them that they can copy and paste into the same links. But can you, is that good for SEO to copy and paste the same review?
Well, I would do it in the form of artwork. I would do it in the form of, a place where people can go and read. Like Dan has a banner that scrolls across. That's a bunch of testimonials. And those are pictures. They're not text.
That was one of the
what
questions.
I would ultimately what I would ultimately prefer is that they be entered into Google and then we pick them up. It doesn't, when you say work on Google, no, it doesn't work in getting you more reviews or counting as a review. On your website, sure, you can totally use it there because people have said that about you. I don't think, some of your...
Thanks, Jamie. I like that suggestion. Thank you.
Really smart.
Yeah, really smart. I think that asking for reviews is one of those things that, I like the idea of here is a link to my Yelp, here is a link to Nextdoor, and here is a link to House. Like, I like that. I do think, though, that we ask a lot of our consumers.
You can take that one step further because people have good intentions. They say, yeah, I'm going to leave you a review. And then they get busy and they forget about it.
Yeah.
Well, I've in the past, I've done this, and I've worked with people that have done it. Write the review for the people. So you kind of know what they're going to say, right? Because of your clients, you've been with them a long time. You've done a great job on their project. Create a custom review, 2, 3, 4 sentences for that client to say, hey, if this is what you think, if this work, copy and paste that into this link here. Done.
Right.
So there's another way to do it.
Just
Could
make sure
even give
they're
them,
different, right? Just make sure that your tone, don't rinse and
it's
repeat.
write it as they would write it,
Right.
not the way you would write it. And
Correct.
then even give them some pictures of their project
Mhm,
that they could post at the same time. Make it as easy as possible for
mhm.
someone to leave you a review. And you'll
Well,
yeah,
and
just get
I would say too that for folks like you that have more work than you know what to do with in some cases, this is definitely a really nice to do. Like you should do this. But in the way of the things that you have to do, I would put this a little bit lower on the list. I would say the priorities are making sure that what you do and what you offer allows your best customer to self-select. So make sure that you repel who you need to so there's room to attract who you want. Because you can't play both sides. You just won't be able to, it's not the best way to grow your business or to be in business.
thanks, Amzy.
Thanks a
Amzy
lot.
just did a review, she said. So
So I would
cool.
say that's priority one is get your brand story to be the same on all of your platforms and channels.
Yeah.
So if we were going to hire somebody to do that, where idea, I mean, I know you're a bigger company, but if you hired somebody to do that, would they,
Mhm.
so if I hired you to do
Mhm.
my social media marketing, is this something you would do
Mhm.
on a weekly basis? And then, approximate idea of costs, what would something like this be? And I know it's broad because how far are we
Yes.
going, right?
Right, right. So all agencies are the agencies that I know of. They, some of them niche down and they do one particular thing, and some of us do everything. And
Right.
so, you need a partner who is going to collaborate with you to design a package that is what you need. Because, like with Dan, we do a lot for Dan. We do everything from his images to a social media marketing to creating his content to updating his website and creating sales pages. So it's very, we're inclusive with Dan and we meet with him once a week.
Yeah.
For others, it's not like that. They have less that they need done, and they don't want to meet with me as often. I meet with Dan weekly. I have other clients that I meet with twice a month, and we come up with an action plan of things that need to get done. And we identify first, we got to talk about where we're going and what it is we want to accomplish. But in some
Yeah,
cases,
we've got all of that done with a long time ago. So
right.
yeah.
But in most cases, we got to figure out like what is it you are hoping to accomplish, because creating content is a much different ask than it is to get your entire digital footprint pointing in the right direction.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Creating
content takes work.
Oh, yes, it does. Yes,
So much
yes, it
work.
does.
Yes.
Yes, it does. So I know there are some agencies that might charge, I don't know, $600 a month or something. And they might be posting content or creating content that is what I would call the rinse and repeat kind of content, where it is, cute little quotes or, inspirational messages, or it's light and it's fluffy.
Right.
Um, Agencies that are creating high value driven content, you're looking at probably anywhere from, I don't know, $1,200 a month and up.
Right.
Right.
And that
I would
goes in alignment of what kind of clients are you looking for, how much client, because then you have to deal with your capacity.
right.
So I
Exactly.
think it was somebody was saying, I can't remember who was saying he has tons of work and he's just exhausted, right?
Yep.
And then it's really dealing with your capacity of when you're going to schedule them out and how you're going to schedule it.
Right.
It's determining where you want to go next. And that's part of figuring out your why is where you want to go to.
Well, and my advice would be to find a partner who knows what they're doing. Like find a partner who can look at your entire estate and come up with collaborate with you to come up with a game plan on this is what you need. Like these are the big rocks, but this is where I think we should start, because tending to it, right, and keeping up to date on it is much better than 18 months down the track being so far in the hole that you have so many different things to unravel, start, stop, continue. So it's kind of like having a partner who can look at it and say, Robin, this is what you need to do, right? Because
it's soul searching. And this is me. When I'm saying you, I mean me. I need to do the soul searching, determine where I want to go, what is my why, and really get into the weeds in it, really get detailed in it.
Right.
It's a lot of soul searching.
Well, and I would say too that like I don't know how to do what you do. And I don't want to learn. I'm busy. I got enough irons in the fire. I would suggest to you that you look at your marketing and your social media plan the same way. Like, do you really want to learn another skill? Do you really need another, DIY? Find a good partner that you trust and, have a collaborative relationship, and find someone who can look at it from 30 feet and go, this is what you should do. Like you need a collaborative partner, somebody who can direct you in the ways that you don't know. That would be my advice.
Yeah.
Well, the value of you of a marketing person is it's you're part of the team, like accountant, like my accountant, like my attorney. I'm not doing this on my own. And the problem is so many people think they can do it themselves, but then you look at how much work you have going on, and you can't.
It's kind of like I knew I could have done a lot of this myself, and I did it for years, but I did a half-ass job, and I never got it done, and so I was really fooling myself into thinking I could do it, and so.
Well, and I like Robin's language about a marketing person is a part of the team, and I feel that way, especially in Dan's business. I feel like I'm a part of the team in that we are collaborating on some of our best approaches, especially as we look at what are we going to do for 2022, and that Dan can turn to me and just say, I need this, and then we can run with it. He doesn't need to explain the how, he just needs to explain the why.
Exactly.
And then we'll take care of the rest. That's the kind of partner I hope you all can find.
So
and then there's also stop micromanaging. I was on a Clubhouse group with somebody, and we had somebody on who said, when you hire an assistant, if their work is 80%, take it and move forward, right? So I'm asking you to do 80%, but then this is me. I'm talking about myself again. I've worked with people who've created content for me, and then I sit down and rewrite the whole thing. It's like, oh my God, why am I doing this? Just accept it and move forward, right? It's good. It's good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to get out there.
Perfect is the enemy of done.
Yeah.
I love that quote, Dan. It's on my wall. Huge red letters on my wall.
Yeah.
Couple of things I would say to people on the call here or watching the recording is, number one, whatever you do, if you don't do anything else, make sure you get your client's email and build an email list and communicate with them every now and then. Okay. If you don't do anything else, just do that. Send a message to your list. Hey, we had a good month. We did this, and this, or something interesting.
And do it well, right? Do it well.
Do it well. Yeah. Don't send garbage. Send some helpful tips or something. Just do something. That way you're keeping in touch with your number one source of leads, and that's referrals. All right. Or past clients, that kind of a deal. I had a few back when I was contracting. I had a client that had a deck built by someone else a few years after we had finished his second floor addition. I just stopped in and said, Frank, what the heck you doing here? He said, oh God, I didn't think about calling you guys because I didn't market to him. Like, dummy. Anyway, and he was a great client. He must have met someone that did decks, and they just had him do it. Anyway, so do that if you don't do anything else, and then work on a good logo, good brand. So you have nice business cards, and put your picture on your business card. Not a lot of people do that. I think it's really nice. Use both sides of the card. put your picture on one side and what you do on the other side. And do that after you do the worksheet, because that'll help you clarify your brand a little bit more. And do the worksheet. Take some time and do the worksheet. Get your people together and work on it.
As you
Go ahead. I'm
you
sorry.
do the worksheet, well, as you do this worksheet, right? Like I hear from a lot of our new clients this year, Joleen, I don't have time to do this worksheet. Like I don't want to do this. Just get this done. You can't really create a whole lot of content or market your business if you haven't answered some of these questions.
Right.
And if you feel like you are just always swatting, right, or batting at it, like I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm not clear, I don't have a clear direction. I would say that a lot of that problem lies in the basics. And the basics is coming down to what is on and off brand for you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you watch Schitt's Creek as a great example, you will hear David Rose say every other second, that's off brand. That's not on brand, that's off brand. And what he's talking about is like he wouldn't, put toilet plungers in the front of his store because that's off brand. He's a luxury brand. He puts the toilet plungers in the back. So the idea is that you are following your own narrative. But if you don't know your narrative, you're going to be guessing, and it's hard. It's hard for your customers to know to self-select if you can't attract the right ones and repel the wrong ones.
So how often should you review this?
That is a great question. So that's the tricky thing is that, it's like we make a change in one spot and then it's like, there are 14 other places that I need to change it. So we recommend that you do a quarterly audit, but for sure, this is the best time of year to, make sure that your entire real estate is saying the same thing. And here, even I'm caught, like we are, and it's not that big of a deal, but we are no longer in Minneapolis, but we say that we are, and that's one of the things that we need to take care of.
It's I work with clients all over the world. You don't have to be anywhere where anybody is anymore.
No, not anymore. Not for me anyway.
No, not for anybody.
Joleen, this is so incredible and so absolutely timely.
Thank you.
Well, I'm in the major process of changing things, but it's also that great time of year to really think about where we are now. I mean, life has been busy and crazy for us, which is great, but it's sitting down and really determining where I want to go, where we all want to go in the next year and it's not just next year, it's the next 5 years, it's the next 10 years. We have to actually almost create a longer term goal and know where we want to go out here and how our marketing and our why is going to build to get to that point, whether it's you're getting ready to slow down and retire, you're changing your business scope, whatever it is. I mean, great. A lot of work is great, but then you have to hire more staff. And that then takes all the training and, I want to grow my business. Just say, I want to grow my business by 25%. Well, do I have the staff to handle growing my business by 25%? Just because you can market it doesn't mean you can build it. Right.
Right. Exactly. Well, and I think too that, branding, I mean, this is getting into a whole nother set of weeds, but your branding also extends to your team and the people in your employ. And are they on or off brand? I mean, that's also a really big part of the narrative that you are crafting about your business. And, even your entire real estate, your digital footprint. I think the same goes for our employees. Like they have to be on brand.
Absolutely. That's a huge issue. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
I know, right? Little can of
really
worms.
But it's exciting and it's fun. And, it's goes all back to that same thing is that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Right.
So if we are planning, we have to think about all the parts and pieces, and working with somebody like you helps you think, great, you want to grow your business. Do you have a staff to do that? And okay, what are you going to do to create that staff, and who are you going to have to help you create that staff and educate that staff? And do you have all that to get right? It's It's
You got it. Well,
big
you're
picture.
defining it there for me. You got it. I mean, I'm sorry that these kinds of things take time. I'm sorry it's not like the most glamorous and fun part sometimes of running a business, but you got to sit down and do the work, because if you don't define it, you're not going to know what to say.
All right. Was that your last word?
That's my last. Yes, and thank you again for standing in front of my house.
This was fabulous. Thank you.
This is awesome. So again, this will be posted. The links for the worksheet and all that stuff will be posted. Feel free to give Joleen a call or email, and she'll give you a quote if you want to work with her, or maybe she can refer someone that can help you, and away you go. So
And
all I
leave
know
Dan
is
a review. Leave Chief Academy a review on Google and Yelp, you guys.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Joleen.
All right.
Thanks, friends.
See you, everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.